The college football experience. Jim Knowles to Penn State as defensive coordinator. Episode for TCE Trims is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 per month on your sports gambling transactions. Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm.
This is Mike Leach, head football coach at Mississippi State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Welcome to the college football experience, TCE Trims edition. Jim Knowles to Penn State. We will be talking about that briefly. Just a quick little episode. YouTube.com/the college experience. Hit that like and subscribe button. But yes, we got breaking news today. That we will be talking about, and we'll be doing a lot more of these in the coming year, or years plural. So hit that like and subscribe button. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swiggin, Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
He's the kind of guy that would drink a gallon of gasoline so he could piss in your campfire. You could drop this guy off at the Arctic Circle wearing a pair of bikini underwear without his toothbrush, and tomorrow afternoon he's going to show up at your poolside with $1 million smile and a fistful of pesos.
Oh, college football talk? Season's been over. It hasn't even been a week. Yeah, we got to talk about it. Big news out of Columbus, Ohio /State College, Pennsylvania. Yeah, we got news today that defensive coordinator Jim Knowles, who had done a fantastic job, really fixing the Ohio State defense. It wasn't that long ago that you remember Kerry Coombs was struggling, and that was the weak part of Ohio State. We thought they lacked physicality, and they went out and hired Jim Knowles, came over from Oklahoma State. And this is a guy that's really been previously to 3 years at Oklahoma State. He'd been at a lot of stops. Guy who played the game at Cornell, was with David Cutcliffe at Duke for some of the most successful years. Was the head coach of Cornell also as well as a player, but also had stops at Western Michigan and Ole Miss. But this is a guy that has been around for a while. Big time thing that he did there in Columbus when he fixed really the Ohio State defense. And I think a lot of that, I know Chip Kelly got a lot of the praise last Monday night, and that's fair. He did. I think he called a great game, but at the same time, Jim Knowles really, I thought, was a big difference maker in changing the Ohio State identity as a team. Their defense got much better. I think it was the second year, though. I think first year they still struggled a little bit, but second year they made great strides, and they won a national championship this past year. And I was a bit baffled when I heard the news first of Tom Allen leaving Penn State for Clemson. But then, word got out that, he has his kids and family down there in South Carolina or North Carolina, one of the two. And then it made a lot more sense why he would go to another playoff team. So what was Penn State going to do at that point? And then today they hit just a gigantic home run, in my opinion, by hiring Jim Knowles away from Ohio State, the sitting defensive coordinator on the national championship team. I would love to know what exactly went on. I want to know if Knowles, perhaps if Ohio State had a chance to match that offer. I would like to think that they did, But regardless, they didn't, and he is now the new defensive coordinator of Penn State. And this is just a great development now, as you got Penn State really just going all in. I will compare it to the likes of a couple years ago. You saw Michigan pay to bring all their players back 2 years ago, right? The schedule, they really lined up so that it was very soft. You know, their non-con, Michigan's non-con in the 2023 season was ECU, which I love my Pirates, but ECU was not very good. They were, they lost that game 30-3. UNLV, and this is before UNLV got it rolling, and then Bowling Green. That was the non-con. No Power Fives for Michigan in 2023. And you saw them run the table. Now, Michigan would probably beat anybody that year. Obviously, they won the national championship. But I do think there's a thing of about this of like how many, if you play the more big time games you play, the more you risk injury and stuff like that. And when you play three, kind of easy opponents, I would say, I think all those spreads were by, 4 touchdowns or three to 4 touchdowns. You could play your backups. That Michigan treated the 2023 season like it was a preseason. Like the first 4, because after it was ECU, UNLV, Bowling Green, then it was Rutgers and Nebraska, and those teams were all a joke, right? So they had like 5 games to get ready for the rest of the season, and you saw this past year, Ohio State in similar fashion. Ohio State's non-con, no Power Fives. It was Akron, Western Michigan, and Marshall, and they even had a bye week before Marshall, right? So. They didn't, and we knew Michigan State was a project. So after that, they had Michigan State. So they basically had a runway into success. And Ohio State kind of copied the blueprint from Michigan, but they paid to bring all these guys back, and it worked out. They won a national championship, much like Michigan. Now you're seeing Penn State kind of go all in on this, and I think it's just a fascinating element to all of this is. Just what is going on here. But before I talk about who's coming back, I do want to tell the folks out there that the college football experience is brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, SGPN has partnered up with Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook or DFS sites or sweepstakes sites or perhaps the racetrack or casino. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. The best part is no credit checks, and it's completely free. Sign up today and use the promo code SGPN so you get better cash back rewards and instant tier 2 status. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Once again, that's edgeboost.bet. Promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by mybookie.ag. Yes, MyBookie is your place to bet every single sport. Plus, they have props for every game, and the live dealer casino is always a bundle of fun. And look, MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations outside of the United States as well. Easy deposits, lightning fast payouts using crypto. So head over to mybookie.ag, use the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Plus, they're going to give you a little $10 casino chip to get your beak wet there. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. All right, we are back, and I am, it's very fascinating to me, this move. I wanted to quickly, bring this up because I just thought, this was a big move. I mean, first Tom Allen getting to Clemson, I thought was a huge move for Clemson. And I was a bit shocked by that. But then when I learned that his family was there, then I was like, okay, it makes sense. Maybe it wasn't actually the dollar bill talking. It was just, proximity, and maybe you're reflecting on your life and saying, hey, I only have so much time with my family. So that move to Clemson, as it first came off that it was perplexing, I would say now it makes a little bit more sense. This one is very perplexing and very interesting. And much like I was making the point pre the ad read there that Ohio State and Michigan had gone on and brought back as many players as they could. Penn State has already started to do this, they've, yes, they're losing Tyler Warren but they can't bring him back. Even if they wanted to, they can't bring him back. John Riggins 2.0 is going to the NFL. And then Abdul Carter obviously is going to the NFL as well. But, they went out and they retained Drew Aller, Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen, Zane Durant on the D-line, Dennis Sutton as well on the D-line. So they're, and safety, I thought too, Wheatley is coming back. So they went all out to bring back all these guys. Say, hey, you don't need the NFL. Here's a bunch of money. Come back. We can do this. And look no further than the schedule. It aligns exactly like that 2023 Michigan or the 2024 Ohio State. Now, yes, Ohio State, Tony Batiti, I know he said after they won the national championship, they went through the toughest path. In the playoffs, yes, I agree. That's the toughest path. But in the non-con, not at all. Penn State taking a page from taking a page from Ohio State and Michigan. Their non-con is Nevada at home, Beaver Stadium. Florida International, the airport at home, Beaver Stadium. Villanova at home, Beaver Stadium. That's the non-con. They're building up for this thing. They don't have Michigan on the schedule next year. They do have to go to Ohio State. We know Franklin's history with Ohio State, and they have to go to Kinnick, but there's a bye week between the two. It's still a somewhat challenging schedule, but not from the non-con point of view. And comparing it to other teams in the Big Ten with the non-con, I think they're clearly taking the page from Michigan and Ohio State to say, this is what we should do. We can play a lot of our backups. Don't risk our starters getting injured. And we'll see if it all works out. Now, obviously, James Franklin, as a head coach, is 4-20 against top 10 teams in his run as a head coach between Vandy and Penn State. The Vandy one's not shocking. The Penn State one is pretty shocking. You saw them go out and get Andy Kotelnicki at the offense coordinator spot a year ago, and instantly their offense, I think, looked a lot better. Now, they still had their problems. Obviously, the goal line situation against Ohio State was one, but I do think year two, it's only going to get better. Your offense being more familiar in the system will be a good thing. All those returning players being back. But what does this mean here? To me, it just means like this is they're going all in. And I think it's a very exciting moment for if you're a Penn State fan, because to steal Ohio State sitting DC is a big deal. It's a big deal. I think I can't wait to read more of what went on there. I imagine they had the chance to match the offer because you just won a national championship and they didn't. But Penn State brought a big bag of cash. You could tell this is another development of them going all in, and I think it's fascinating for the sport, and it's fascinating for Penn State fans as they continue to get amped up about not being that team. I feel like people look at Penn State as a second tier after Michigan and Ohio State and perhaps Oregon now in the Big Ten. Penn State kind of thought upon as a second tier. By the way, shout out to the chat, youtube.com/the college experience. And yeah, I mean, Rob Donaldson in the chat saying, when's the last time we saw a coordinator move like this? Yeah. I mean, you saw Chip Kelly as a head coach move to be the offensive coordinator of Ohio State, and clearly that paid off. But as a sitting DC of a team on the a national championship team leaving, I haven't done a deep dive on that, but I am very curious. Off the top of my head, I'm drawing a blank. I'm trying to think of a sitting DC. I was thinking maybe one of those LSU teams, or maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to think off the top of my head of like, did one of the LSU DCs leave after? Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to do a deeper dive on that, but either way, I think this is a super exciting team. And now what does Ohio State do is the thing. If I had to bet, because this is so late in the coaching cycle, yes, it's Ohio State. They have endless money. They can go out and get, pretty much, even though it's this late in the cycle. I think I saw Hawaii's spring game is in like a week, but I tend to think they could still pluck a sitting DC from a major school. Will they do that? I'm not sure. They might hire within. With Knowles there for a few years, he might have helped grease somebody to be the next DC there. Either way, it's a fascinating development, I think, for the upcoming season. And the rivalry is only going to get better. I know a lot of people don't value that as a rivalry. I think those games have been super entertaining since they've joined the Big Ten, and it's kind of a second tier rivalry, but it's pretty damn It's probably one of the better second tier rivalries. But I want to talk about a few more things before we get out of here. But before I do that, I do want to also let you know that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all the sports. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boost and gimme pick'ems. They got college football, they got college basketball, they got everything: NFL, MMA, NBA, CFL, UFL, MLB, NASCAR. You can now use specials and boost on all flex entries as well. So sign up, and when you do, use our promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Look, you can copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard. I believe you'll still make cash. Me, I like to build my own, and then Rhythm will adjust around that. So what are you doing? Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right, we are back on the college football experience. The chat talking about Aranda took the Baylor job. Yes, but that was a sitting head coach job. To go DC to DC, I'd have to. I'm sure it's probably happened at some point. Maybe. Off the top of my head, I can't think of one. But I do think it's crazy that especially within conference, and I know these conferences are gigantic these days, but Penn State and Ohio State specifically, with the history they've had lately, even though Ohio State's dominated it, they've been a lot of close games. It's a fascinating move, and to see Penn State go out and retain all that, to see the schedule where they go light in the non-con. I think all of that is incredible. You can clearly see they're making their push for a national championship. Can Drew Aller turn the page in the second year with Andy Kotelnicki? Because I will say that you look at a lot of quarterback success, the transfer quarterbacks. Now I know Aller's not a transfer quarterback, but my point is in a new offense, it's a lot of times the second year where I feel like they really take that step forward. Ohio State. Now I'm very fascinated to see what they do at the DC spot. Maybe they hire within. Maybe they go out. You saw Al Golden leave Notre Dame for the Cincinnati Bengals. So Notre Dame and Ohio State, both teams in the national championship, need to find defensive coordinators, and it's January 27th. So pretty fascinating stuff in that regard. Can't wait. We will have you updated, folks, on all of this stuff moving forward. But I'm going to start doing these trims for a lot of the other coaching hires and moves, and this ACC schedule drops tomorrow. We'll talk about that. But yeah, subscribe to the College Football Experience, and please, if you can, youtube.com/the College Experience. I think it's going to be a fascinating thing to see what happens, but we got you covered here on the College Football Experience. We'll be talking about it, but Penn State putting all their chips forward, and hey, I'm here for it. Can Franklin win some of these big games? They got to go to the shoe next year. To the shoe. And now Jim Knowles has to face Chip Kelly. It's going to be fascinating. Can't wait. Folks, please, if you can, give us a follow on Twitter at TheColbyD and at TCE on SGPN. That is the home for the College Experience. Also, check out the College Baseball Experience and the College Basketball Experience. Every single night, every single game we talk about in the College Basketball Experience. Been doing this shit for years. So hop on over there. This is just a quick reaction show to Jim Knowles, the sitting DC at Ohio State, leaving for Penn State. Pretty big news out of State College, Pennsylvania. Maybe Franklin can build that runway with the money they're throwing out there now. All right. He wants a bigger runway so they can fly in and not have to charter a bus and all that shit. Anyway. Till next time, folks, this is the College Football Experience. Jim Knowles, trim style. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot.